everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda if you're new here. So today I have a delicious recipe for you. It's a Mocha Revel cake. It's a recipe that my aunt made, my mom then made, and now I make. This is part of an open collab hosted by Taylor Elmore and a few other people, so let me make sure I read them off. Midlife and Nailing It, Brooke Nicole, D Lovely Life, Mama Friendly, Andrea Shenanigans, and Miss Missouri Grown Carolina Home. And hopefully I got all those names. I'll have all their channels linked below in the description box as well as the playlist, so make sure you check everybody's videos out. If you're new to my channel, I do a lot of content with food, what's for dinner, all kinds of things like that. So if you like those kinds of videos, definitely hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and make sure you give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So let's get to it. Now we're going to get to making this delicious cake. So first we're going to make the kind of crumble middle that goes inside. It's kind of hard to describe, but it is so good. Like, it's really what makes this cake in my opinion. So I've just got 1/4 cup of butter that's softened going in there, and then also a cup of packed brown sugar, and 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and 1/3 cup of cocoa. And we're just going to blend these together until it kind of gets a nice crumble. And we're going to set this aside to add to our cake here in a little bit. So we're just going to get started on the cake. This just takes a cake mix. It's a yellow cake mix, so you know whichever one you prefer. I did make this a while back with a homemade yellow cake, and I really like the cake mix better. So you definitely could try a homemade yellow cake as well. It had a little bit different texture, although that was my first time making a yellow cake homemade. So you know, if you've already been doing that a while, then you might have a recipe you really like. So I've just got 1 1/4 cups of water going into this cake mix, and then we're going to add 1/4 cup of oil. I used canola oil, and we're actually going to add a tablespoon of instant coffee to this as well. So that's what's just about to go in there. That helps give it its kind of mocha flavor, which is so delicious. Which I think next time I might even experiment with add a little more, because you can't taste it real strong, and I really do like coffee taste and some of that stuff like that, even though I don't drink coffee. So I've got 3 eggs going in here, and we're just gonna blend that together. You're gonna just blend it on low speed until you kind of moisten it, and then 4 minutes on the medium speed. So once we get everything all blended in, we're going to actually pour the batter into stages into a greased bundt pan. So make sure the recipe kind of calls for about 2 cups of the batter. It says half the batter, but it says which is about 2 cups. So I kind of tried to measure it. I have to say that the hardest thing about this cake is getting it right on, equal proportions of cake to where you want that crumble mix to be. I remember when my mom used to make this, that it seemed like she always did good about getting that swirl in there. I have not succeeded too well in that, but either way it still tastes delicious. So you can play around with it and see like what's best to get that more of a swirl in there. Once you've gotten this in there, you're going to put half of your kind of chocolate crumble in there, and then just layer that kind of evenly. So once you've got half of that in there, you're going to actually add half of what's remaining of the cake batter on top of that crumble and get that in there, and then kind of spread it around to make sure you cover up all of that crumble so that you kind of get that cake in the middle part in between the crumble. Once you do that, we're going to again repeat with the other half of the crumble mix, and then get that in there, the rest of that, and then you're going to top that with the remaining batter. So this is where I think I might should have put just a little more of the cake batter on the next one, but it's kind of hard to judge that, so I just do the best I can. But like I said, regardless, it tastes so good, it really doesn't matter. If you try this cake, you'll know what I mean. I don't know, and it's just, I remember it from my childhood. So I remember my mom would always pull out this, torn kind of discolored, stained paper that was handwritten, this recipe on it, and it brings back childhood memories, like, of Christmas and everything. So we're going to put this into a 350-degree oven and cook it for 45 to 50 minutes. Once it's done, let it sit for 10 minutes to kind of cool before you try to remove it from the pan. and then remove it. By the way, I heard that nice clunk when I flip that over, and that is always such a nice thing to hear when you do a bundt cake pan, because the last thing you want to do is to stick, because every now and then it does. So make sure you do, you know, grease that pan really well. Now we're going to make the chocolate glaze that goes on top of it, and this stuff is so good. So we've got a tablespoon of butter, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and a tablespoon of water. We're going to stir that together still while it's over the heat. Once you kind of get that all good and combined, you're going to remove it from the heat and add in a cup of powdered sugar, and then you're going to add a little bit of water. Now, I would do this slowly. I made the mistake of the last time I made this of overdoing the water, and I tried to fix it, and there just really wasn't any fixing it once I got too much water in it. So definitely make sure you do it real slow. It may take you just a little bit, and then that way you don't overdo the water and get it too thin. And you can really make this as thin or as thick as you like it. It's really personal preference, but you want it to where it doesn't just drip completely off the cake, to where, you know, you want it to kind of look like it is glazed, you know. And then just whisk it all together, get it all good and smooth as you can, and then it'll be ready to pour over our cake. Like I said, this stuff is really good. Also, sometimes I even make a little extra. This doesn't really, like, it kind of, you know, doesn't, with a bundt cake, it kind of drizzles over it. So sometimes I make a little extra to serve on a little, you know, a piece or something like that, so that you have a little more even on it. But we're just going to drizzle that over this, and this cake is just so good. I just can't really explain it. It's something different, and it's definitely a nice way to doctor up a cake mix, because, you know, you really wouldn't even think about it being a cake mix, since it's got that crumble feeling and everything. And this is just so delicious. You can see all that fudge icing. It's so very good. So I highly recommend you make this recipe. Like I said, this is something that's been in my family. We really, you know, have enjoyed it for several years. I will have a recipe linked in the description box for it. I actually found it online. My mom actually lost the paper that she used to have it on, so we were so thankful to find it when we Googled it years ago and found it again. So like you can see the crumble in the middle there, and like you see, mine kind of stuck there to the top part. But thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure to check out all the other videos in the playlist listed below. I know there's going to be a lot of awesome videos with family recipes for the holidays, and I can't wait to watch them all myself. I hope you're having a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.